Welcome back to the Miami Hurricanes opponent preview series. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps my channel out tremendously. It takes a few seconds to do that. That part is free. If you like the content and you want to give a donation, you could do that. Completely up to you. That's completely optional. You could do so via PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. I will have the links for those in the description of the video. So please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube as well. With that being said, let's continue. In part 11 of the 12-part Hurricanes opponent preview series, we will preview the Virginia Tech Hokies, our opponent up in Blacksburg, Virginia on November 22nd. Let's take a look at the Hokies in 2025. This is a pivotal period for Brent Pry. This is now year 4 in Blacksburg. His record is 16-21. Despite expectations being high in 24, there were setbacks due to injuries and inconsistent performance. He had to make coaching adjustments and do a roster overhaul this offseason. Nevertheless, the optimism in Blacksburg is pretty high, and that they're going to make some measurable progress in a very highly competitive ACC. Now let's take a look at the preview of the Virginia Tech Hokies, breaking it down. I mentioned coaching changes. Sorry. Offensive coordinator is now Philip Montgomery, and his main focus is enhancing quarterback Kyron Drones' performance. We saw how good Drones was last year at Hard Rock. Again, I'll talk about from a Canes perspective in a minute. Defensive coordinator Sam Sifskis. He succeeds Chris Marv, and he's going to implement a new aggressive defensive strategy aimed at reducing the number of significant plays allowed last year. Other additions to the staff will be several new coaches. G. Ray Wilson on the edges, Brian Whitehead at the nickels, and Brent Davis coaches the tight ends. Let's look at the roster overview. Virginia Tech's team lost 5 offensive linemen that started last year, and several other players who went for the NFL draft or via the portal. And speaking of the transfer portal, they added multiple transfers to fill the gaps on the roster. That includes running backs Terrian Stewart, Braden Bennett, and Marcellus Hawkins, as well as receivers Cam Selden and Donovan Green, lineman Ben Bell, and James D. Johncam, and defensive back Tyson Flowers. When you look at their incoming class, ESPN ranked Virginia Tech's 2025 recruiting class 41st nationally. They did get some notable players, which include wide receiver Micah Matthews, quarterbacks A.J. Brand and Keldon Ryan, and linebacker Brent Clatterbaugh. They do get back, of course, Drones, pending his health, like I mentioned, linebacker Jaden Keller, and defensive lineman Kelvin Gilliam Jr. Now, let's look at this game from a Canes point of view. We know it's going to be likely cold up in Blacksburg. Might even be a night game up there. We don't know that yet. Of course, we have to wait and see on that. Not to mention the fact that B-Tech is going to have revenge on their minds for the game they thought they won last year in Hard Rock. And you better believe that team has circled November 22nd on their calendar. Canes need to go up there again, another big game to try to hold on to a playoff spot and a berth in Charlotte. They need to come out and take care of business against a determined Hokies team who is going to be at home and an amped crowd up there to boot. And you know they're going to want to avenge last year. The heartbreak that they thought they won and then they didn't. We were lucky to win at Hard Rock last year, but going up there, likely cold, possibly a night game, you know that crowd's going to be amped and they're going to be ready for this game. Now let's look at the Hokies schedule. They open with South Carolina in Atlanta. Then they get Vanderbilt, Old Dominion, and Wofford coming to Lane. That Vanderbilt game's very sneaky. Is Vanderbilt a team that's become pretty dangerous? You know, that's gonna be an interesting game to watch. Then they start conference play at NC State. Then they have Wake at home. They go to Atlanta, play Georgia Tech. They have Cal and Louisville coming to Blacksburg before a trip out for bye week to Doak. And they get that bye week late in the year, which will be a big advantage when they go down to Doak. And then they finish in the state of Virginia with us on the 22nd, and then the Commonwealth game the following week at Charlottesville against Virginia. When you look at their win total, BetMGM has set the over-under win total at 6.5, highlighting the challenging nature of this evaluation for both analysts and the Virginia Tech fans. While projections differ, several analysts project Virginia Tech's record in 2025 to be 6-6. Now that could have a bowl eligibility, though. There's that scenario, you'd have a small margin for error. They approached this season with a restructured coaching staff, a revitalized roster, but a brutal schedule. That success is going to depend on the health of Kyron Drones and improvements along that O-line and the defense's ability to adapt efficiently to Siefke's new system. It's going to be a chance for significant opportunities, but also challenges. And it's going to suggest that it may be pivotal for the program's trajectory, and not only that, Brent Pry's future, because Brent Pry may change this offseason. They got to start seeing results this year, and I think they will. Looking at that schedule, most of their key games are at home, except that one trip down the Doak late in the year. If I had to put a record right now with Virginia Tech, I'm going to honestly say they win 8 games this year. So my prediction for the Virginia Tech Hokies in 2025 is 8-4. In the 12th and final part of this series, I will preview the Pitt Panthers.